Yankees shut down ace Luis Severino for 2 weeks with rotator cuff inflammation.
So what does that mean for the Yankees rotation?
All that and more on this episode of Yankee Chatter. Welcome, everyone. My name is Greg Andriano at GregAndriano05 on Twitter.
And I'm Brad McCormick at BradderChatter1 on Twitter. And like you just heard, the story of the week, or spring, you could say, is Severino is shut down until I think March 20th is when he resumes throwing again with a shoulder problem. So what do you think, Greg?
Well, that's right. He was scratched from his second Grapefruit League start. They're giving him 2 weeks. I read the other day that he's been stretching and moving it around, and he's feeling pretty good. So all things are optimistic. Initial reaction, this could have been a disaster if it was any worse. I mean, the last thing you want is Tommy John surgery or rotator cuff surgery. He would be out for pretty much the entire year and even into next year, especially after he just signed that 4-year deal. So the Yankees are dodging a bullet here as of right now.
Yeah, and one of the reasons why he signed that contract, even though it's very team-friendly, is because of something like this. If he didn't sign that extension and he simply went to arbitration and he got the shoulder problem, he would have been kind of SOL for next year. So this is one of the reasons why he signed that contract. Not something you anticipate or ever wish, but it happens. But you're right. It could have been a big disaster. And all those Yankee fans out there who like to hate on their own team, who are going nuts because they didn't sign Keuchel or any starter really other than signing Paxton and trading for Paxton and signing up, would have been going crazy. So this is let's hope the optimism stays and it's true. We saw Kershaw go down early this spring with a shoulder problem. He's working through it. I don't know how similar they are to each other, but Kershaw is resuming throwing now and said to be doing well. So I'm hoping Severino follows the same path.
I agree. It would be a disaster. I mean, like you said, all those fans are out there whining about the Yankees not spending money, not signing people. And we talked about it all offseason so far on pretty much every episode, saying that, you guys stick by the Yankees and they're doing the right thing. But, if on top of them not signing these other players and Severino went down for the year, this would be a living nightmare.
Right. Then not signing Corbin would have been huge.
Would have been huge. But there are some possible solutions. Like we said, he might come back, but it might take him a little while. He might not be ready for the beginning of the season, which is fine. Let him take his time with this. Shoulder injuries are very serious. We don't want him to rush back and then make it worse. So let him take his time. It's okay if he misses the first couple starts of the season, as long as he's there for the rest of the season. The big thing.
He even said that himself. He said himself, I'm glad this happened now than in July or August.
So. Absolutely. Pennant race hasn't started yet. Not guaranteeing anything, but the Yankees will be right in the thick of it. So possible solutions, Brad. There are a couple. There are 2 big free agents, semi-big free agents still out there right now in Gio Gonzalez and Dallas Keuchel, both left-handed pitchers. Both still do not have a home. And we're already like 3/4 of the way through spring training.
I don't like either of them, to be honest with you. Gio Gonzalez I never liked. I always thought he was overrated, and he showed you when he got to the playoffs, he just collapsed every time. Keuchel, although he was the ace for the Astros for a long time, has had a very quick downslope. Last year, he actually led the league in completion percentage. He still was a good pitcher, but he pitches the contact, and that's not what MLB values right now.
No.
I don't know how that would work in the Yankee ballpark. Is Keuchel better than one of their in-house solutions? Maybe, especially the way we'll get there. Especially the way some of these guys are pitching this spring.
Yeah.
But you don't want to get into a situation where you sign Keuchel and Severino comes back, and then you have too many guys, or Keuchel does make more starts and he's not very good. It's just I think we stay away from Keuchel and hope that Severino comes back. Only misses a couple starts.
I would have probably jumped on the bandwagon of, if he was down for the whole year, you sign one of these guys.
That's a different story.
As depth, because I know you mentioned, well, if Severino does come back and Keuchel's still there and you might have a logjam, but then you gotta also remember CC Sabathia is a big question mark.
Yeah.
You don't know what you're going to get from him yet. He hasn't thrown in a spring training game yet. He won't be ready to start the season. So you can never have too much pitching, especially left-handed pitchers in Yankee Stadium. But, if I had to pick between one or the other, I would probably go with Keuchel just because He's closer off from having good seasons. And
Yep.
yeah, he pitches to contact, but the Yankees are a slider friendly team. Maybe that could be something that they teach him or get him to throw more of to try and get swings and misses. He's not a power pitcher anymore. Not that he really ever was, but he could become a CC type pitcher with finesse and throwing cutters and getting contact ground balls and stuff like that, which could be a good thing. Gio Gonzalez, he's way past his prime. He's a has been. In fact, to go with the jersey behind you, Brad, he was a never was.
I like the Mighty Duck reference.
Yeah, so on top of free agents, there's also the option of going with someone within the organization. There are a couple of options that have been talked about through the Yankee beat writers so far. You got Domingo Germán, Jonathan Loáisiga, and a surprise this year, who I was kind of hoping wouldn't be even in the mix, but now he is all of a sudden, Luis Cessa. So what do you think about any one of those options, Brad?
Well, it's funny because we always talk about how Cessa is for some reason loved by Brian Cashman. We don't get it, but he's just always there. And the funny thing is he's been the best pitcher all spring. Well, amongst these replacements. Loáisiga was awful again his last start. Germán, I haven't really seen too much of Germán this spring. Never been a big fan of Germán. They say he's got the stuff, but everyone has the stuff.
The thing is with these guys, they're all still young. The big thing about Loáisiga is that he has good stuff. His command is there. I actually got to watch his last start because I've been, kind of out of it with my back injury. So I'm kind of relegated to bed rest here. But
you sit at a desk all day at work anyway.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. I can't sit. Lower back problems are terrible, and Aaron Hicks could probably vouch for that. But no, but the thing with Loáisiga is that his stuff is there. He throws 96, 97 miles an hour. He has good off-speed stuff. He just doesn't have command. He pitched 2 innings the other day. He gave up a bunch of runs.
Yep.
And for some reason, he just kept missing high. Everything was high. So
that's the one place you don't want to miss.
Right, especially with these big. And now he was going against the Orioles. Now the Orioles are terrible, are going to be terrible this year. They were terrible last year. Yep. So that's nothing. But if you put him out there against Boston or Cleveland or Houston, they're going to tattoo those high fastballs because they're straight. There's nothing to them. So he's got some work to do now. Maybe next year, or maybe if he figures this out in the minor leagues, he could be a solution down the line. But coming out of the gates, not so much. I am very intrigued by Luis Cessa, though. I wrote him off last year. I actually wrote him off the year before that. And now all of a sudden he's pitching lights out. He threw today, threw 4 innings, a shutout. He only gave up 2 hits. He looks like a completely different pitcher. Now, I would say right now, in my opinion, he's the front runner to nab one of these extra rotation spots coming out of spring with the injuries to Severino and Sabathia. Yeah,
well, they said they've been saying Cessa has confidence this year. He's not so much worried about just being there, making an impression, making the team. And now he's pitching like he has a spot in this team, and he's just getting himself ready. So he's actually acting more like an older pitcher than he actually is, which could be the reason why he's acting like a different pitcher. If I had to choose, now they're gonna have 2 open spots opening day. If I am correct, I believe they're gonna pick one guy to be in the rotation, and I bet you they go bullpen day for the other one until one of these 2 guys are back. I mean, Sabathia is not going to miss too much time if everything goes on schedule.
Right, knock on wood.
And hopefully Severino either, but yeah, knock on that wood. But yeah, right now it's looking like now is the time that they start paying attention to spring training very closely because we only have a couple weeks left, and I think Cessa is far beyond exceeded what they expected, and I think he showed up at that last spot.
Yep, he will probably take that home, and then like you said, they'll probably bullpen with a mixture of probably Domingo Germán and a couple other relievers.
Because there's ever a team in the majors to bullpen, it's the Yankees this year, and you have Chad Green, Shane Green. I don't know why I always think Shane Green, but it's Chad Green. He could probably
at one time.
Green could pitch 2-3 innings just to start the game, which is a huge plus. And you have so many of those relievers that can go from there.
Well, yeah. On top of that, Canley's apparently bouncing back and having a fantastic spring. He looks completely different. So that'd be great if they could get him back. You can get a couple innings from these guys. It's okay to have 1 start out of 5 starts like this. You don't want to make a habit out of it. You want to get depth and length from these other guys. But like you said, now's the point in spring training where pitchers are going to start throwing more innings. They're not just making 2-inning starts. Sessa threw 4 innings today. I'm not sure who's pitching tomorrow. I would guess probably Paxton. You'll probably see 4 or 5 innings out of him, and then you'll probably start seeing 6 innings towards the end of 5-6 innings towards the tail end of spring training. If guys are still pitching as effective as they are in those first 2 innings, in the last couple innings, then that will be a better gauge on who might fill in that extra rotation spot. And that would be a good test for Sessa, because usually when he pitches, he has the first couple good innings, and then he falls apart the second or third time through the order. So with that said, opening day, not that far away. With the Severino injury, the Yankees made an announcement. Masahiro Tanaka will be the opening day starter. It's been, I think, 2 years since he's been the opening day starter, because Severino started last year. So do you think he's the right guy for the job?
He's absolutely the right guy. And a lot of people wanted Paxton. I think let Paxton pitch a second game or third game, whatever you want to drop him in there. Tanaka's the guy to go. He's the old man in the rotation now that Sabathia and Severino are out right now. He flourishes in the big games. And I actually had a conversation with someone on Twitter about this. He said opening day is not a big game. Yeah, in the grand scheme of things, it's not. But to the players, it really is. It's an honor to them to pitch to be the opening day starter. And I think Tanaka, the way he is especially, would see this as a tremendous honor. I think you're going to get a very good performance out of him. So I like this decision.
I completely agree. I was on the fence with Paxton. Maybe if this was his second year as a Yankee, you kind of explore that. But as far as, because he's still new to the Yankees, that's going to be a lot of pressure on him, because not only is he making his first start of the year, but he's making his first start of the year in front of an entirely new fan base. And you don't want to put that, you want to get off on the right foot, which is why you want to put a veteran like Tanaka in this situation. He's done it before. And you're right. It's not technically a big game in the sense where, the season's on the line, but you also want to have a good opening day. You want to set the tone for the rest of the season. You want to get off to a good start. You want to also do this in front of your home fans, because the Yankees will be playing at Yankee Stadium. So, you want to make sure the fans know that you're meeting their expectations, and you want a veteran to do that. So
this is his best decision that could have been made. This is the right way to go.
Now, if Severino is healthy, obviously he's making the start. But Tanaka's obviously the standout choice. So with that said, let's do a couple quick hits here. So far,
we're stepping into the chatterbox.
Yes, stepping into the chatterbox. I like it. James Paxton has thrown 7 in the third inning so far.
Awesome.
He's been fantastic. He's pitching to a 1.23 ERA. He's got 10 strikeouts. Think about that. He's thrown pretty much one game, one start, and he's got 10 strikeouts and 3 walks, and he's only given up 1 run. Now, this is any indication. No, if this is any indication of how he can be throughout the season, and hopefully he can maintain this throughout the season, this is something that we all should be very excited for. And maybe next year when we're having this conversation, he's in the conversation of who's making the opening day start between Severino and Paxton.
I would love to be asking each other who the ace of the staff is at this time next year.
I agree, because even if Tanaka has a big year, that's a big 3 right there, and that's something that the Yankees haven't had since their dynasty.
If all goes right, the Yankees have a very good 1, 2, 3, and then a very good 4.5 if Hap bounces back in the springtime. But it never overlooks the Yankees, because everything does have to go right. So I can't argue with them yet, but it could potentially be a very good staff they have.
Like you said, potential's there. Another big standout, and we already talked about it, is Luis Sessa. We don't have to dwell on it, but I will just throw out some numbers here for you. After today's start, he's thrown 13 innings. He's only given up 7 hits. He struck out 13 batters, and he's pitching to a .69 ERA, meaning he's only given up 1 earned run in 13 innings. That's pretty impressive.
He hasn't pitched a ton of innings, but it's still worth noting.
Small sample size, but you got to put things in perspective. He's starting fresh this season.
Yeah.
He's not coming off 30 starts. So
one other guy you didn't have down here too that I thought was a standout was Ottavino. I think Ottavino's been as advertised.
Well, actually, we will talk about him in the bullpen.
Yeah, I just as far as the standout now, I want to get that out there.
Yes.
I like
and you can mention that when we talk about the position players too, that Ottavino has stood out as well. and we can make sure it shows up in all 3 episodes.
Yes, sir.
Just for you. But no, seriously, Ottavino has been pretty good, and we will talk about him because he is very exciting to watch. But the two big guys that have been struggling that I've kind of was hoping we would get a little bit more out of, especially out of the starting rotation, was Jay Happ.
Yeah.
He has struggled mightily this year, and since he came over from the Blue Jays last year, he was one of the best pitchers in the rotation. Now it's kind of looked like it's flip-flop, but again, this is only spring training. He's thrown 8 in the 3rd innings. He's given up 7 runs. The strikeouts are there, which is good. And that's probably what he's more focused on, is that he's getting swing and miss stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Spring training is also an opportunity for these guys to tinker with pitches and command and try different things. So again, it's disappointing to see that the stats and his number line is what it is, but you can't hold to it 100%. He could be a completely different pitcher once the season starts.
I think Happ is the kind of guy that really flourished when he came over last year from Toronto, because I think he likes the adrenaline, I guess you could say. He likes the pressure, and I think you don't get that in spring training. I think he flourished more when it's a regular season game and things are on line. I also, like you said, think he might be focusing on other things. He might not want to be throwing so many off-speed pitches. Maybe he's throwing more fastballs. Maybe he's worried about his command more than the velocity. So we don't really know when it comes to starting pitching. So I'm not really too alarmed with what's Happ doing right now.
And I would assume when these pitchers and catchers report to camp, they probably sit down with the front office or probably Aaron Boone and Larry Rothschild, and they go over some of their stats, because everything's analytics now. So they probably looked at, you threw X amount of fastballs last year and X amount of cutters last year, and you were more effective with the cutter. So maybe we get you working on throwing your cutter more often in spring training, just so you can get a better feel for it. I mean, that's
you don't know the
conversation
that
you don't. You really don't. So then the other guy and we already talked about him, was Loaizaga. It's a little disappointing to see that he hasn't really had success in spring, especially since he hasn't been facing, top-notch batting orders. He's thrown a full game, 9 innings. He's given up 10 earned runs. The strikeouts are there, but the walks are also there too, and that's something that he's going to have to get ironed out in the minor leagues this year. He was I think he was in AAA after he got his call up last year, so he'll probably start there again. But I wouldn't expect this is the last we see of him this year. He will probably be in the rotation or in the pitching staff in some capacity.
Yeah, like you said, he needs to work on his spots. And here's a guy you said was missing up high. He really needs to start working on walks and location. But he's a guy that is trying to make the team. So as far as the starting pitcher goes, he's the kind of guy I do pay attention to what he's doing. A Happ's on the team. He's just trying to get himself ready. Loaizaga trying to make the team. He's trying to put out his best effort every time he goes out there. So he's a little bit more alarming to me. I definitely think AAA is in his future to begin the season. We could be surprised. We don't know what they're thinking in the front office, but I agree with you. Either way, he will be part of this team by the end of the season in some way.
And now that we talked about it, he could be also an option for a bullpenning if you give him an inning or two to start. I would definitely keep an eye on his next couple of starts here in the spring. If he gets his walks down and doesn't give up as many runs or any runs, then maybe instead of giving him 4 or 5 innings as a starter, you make him an opener, or you put him in the mix with some sort of bullpenning combination, because the Yankees really don't have anyone else that can give them length in their system right now. And if you pair him with someone like Herman, and then you can get 2 or 3 innings from each of them, that's 5 innings there, and then you get the bullpen the rest of the game. So
I feel like if Sessa or Loaizaga is going to make any starts with the Yankees in the beginning of the year, it's only going to be a few innings. I don't think they're going to test going 6-7 with them. I mean,
unless Sessa somehow pulls a miracle and this is a new pitcher we're seeing and he's turned the corner and everything's clicking, then maybe he does actually become the number 5 starter down the road here. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. Definitely, I'm excited to see who makes the team out of camp and what happens on opening day.
Yeah, we weren't really expecting this rotation to be a point of emphasis on who makes the team, but unfortunately, here we are.
Now, the big thing coming into camp was first base, and now it's kind of opened up to a couple other things, even with the outfield. But we'll talk about that in our next episode. So with that said, I want to thank you for everyone for watching. Our loyal fans, Mom, Dad, hi. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, Yankee Chatter. We're on all the socials: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Just search Yankee Chatter. We're there. Find us on iTunes. Same thing. Search Yankee Chatter. We like to keep it simple, so everything Yankee Chatter. You'll find us in some way.
We're a simple kind of guy.
Yep. Also, make sure you check out the website. All of our content is there in one place, or there's links to get to it. But it's a hub, so check it out. Let us know what you think. Again, my name is Greg Andriano at GregAndriano05 on Twitter, and this is my colleague up north.
Yeah, my name's Brad. So you just go from there. But now, Brad Chatter 1 on Twitter. So thanks for watching again, and let us know what you think.
Yep. Stay tuned for our next episode where we talk about the position players. So with that said, go Yanks.